So, before we go to something like ketamine therapy, we can do something like cold water therapy, add the medical cannabis, and a lot of times that gets them to where they need to be. There is quite robust evidence that, first of all, legalizing cannabis for adult use does not increase the amount of teens and young people using cannabis. If you smoked huge amounts of high THC, black market cannabis and joints every single day for years and years and years, there's probably around a 8 to 9% chance of having a cannabis use disorder. That being said, alcohol is about 20% if you did the same thing. So it's lower risk than a lot of other substances. Just to give people a reference, if you smoked a whole joint, you might get 100 to 150 milligrams of THC in about 5 minutes. I'm talking about 1 to 2 milligrams of THC over a long acting period of a few hours. So it's very, very different than
microdosing.
It's
so you're not going to get the munchies on that.
No, you're not going to get the munchies.
With CBD, can you just explain the subtle differences for people and what's available, and also the kind of levels? It's quite an expensive thing, I think, as well, to start taking if you get good quality.
Exactly. Yeah, the good quality stuff is expensive. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bad quality that's very well branded and marketed that's the same price as the good quality, good stuff. So it's hard to tell. But I'll try to kind of break it down for people who might be looking for something that they can buy over the counter. So all of the over the counter CBD you can get without a prescription is from hemp. Hemp is the subtype of the cannabis plant that has very, very little THC to begin with. So that's the legal thing that they can sell, on the high street shops sort of thing. So using a full spectrum extract, you're exactly correct. It is considered the best because it doesn't really have much THC, but it has trace THC, and it has all the some of the other minor cannabinoid, the other plant chemicals that work together in what's known as herbal synergy, or in cannabis world, it's called the entourage effect. And why this is important is because the endocannabinoid system doesn't just respond to just CBD or just THC. It's all the other plant chemicals are also biologically active, a lot of them, probably over 100 that we know about so far. So that contributes to the medicinal effect. Much like I'm also trained in botanical medicine, as well as, being a conventional medical doctor, much like when I use botanical medicines alongside drugs, a lot of times I'm looking for the synergy effect with some of these botanicals, and cannabis is kind of the same way, but in its own plant, in the same plant. So full spectrum CBD is harder to come by in the UK because of a regulation called novel foods. It's a long story. Basically, it's harder to get now. Broad spectrum supposedly does have some of those other minor plant chemicals, but no THC at all. However, most broad spectrum extracts, if you look at the breakdown on the certificate of analysis, they're basically almost CBD isolate, which is just pure CBD. Pure CBD isolate can work okay for some people, but for a lot of people, they don't really notice much change, or they have to have such high doses that they might get a side effect or something like this. So generally, for something you can buy on your own for kind of milder issues, like milder stress issues, a full spectrum, good quality product that comes with what's called a COA from a good, reputable company is the way to go.